The 2018 Spencer Stuart Board Index continued to find this year that boards are reshaping and rethinking board composition. This is a result of the increasing pressures and the change in the business environment in every industry, but it is also a reflection of the importance of the institutional investor community and the emphasis that they've actually put on board composition. Boards recognize that there is a need for younger people in the room and for people who are active, who are not about to retire or are retired and who are current in the competitive world we live in. 1 out of 6 of the new directors this year were 50 years old or younger. 2/3 are serving on their first board, and many of them haven't attended their own company's board meetings. They are really new to the boardroom. Half are women, and they come from different industries. They come from with a digital background, technology, consumer, and from the investment community. We're seeing a lot more of that now too. Retirement ages continue to be the methodology that boards use to encourage turnover. Over 70% of boards have a retirement age. It continues to increase. Almost 44% of boards have a retirement age of 75 or older. 3 boards in the S&P 500 have a retirement age of 80. And so what that means is year in and year out, we only have 8% of the seats turning over. So change is slow. Boardroom leadership has been a subject for the last 10 years, and we've seen a real evolution in that. Half of the boards now in the U.S. in the S&P 500 have a split chair CEO, and 30% have an independent chairman. So that is a huge change when you think about the fact that that change can only really occur when you have a CEO transition. You don't take the chairman role away from somebody. The other thing that's interesting to look at is as the lead director role has evolved, if you look at the roles and responsibilities of a lead director and compare that to a chairman, they're virtually identical for most companies. The compensation, however, is very different, and we see that the chairman get on average $165,000 a year and the lead director $40,000 for pretty much the same job. There's been a great deal of conversation about tenure policies. I think a lot of the investor community thinks that they may be something that should be used, but that we have continued to see very little pickup in that. Only 25 of the S&P 500 companies have term limits, and most of them set it at 15 years or longer. This continued to be a year where diversity was very important in the boardroom, and for the second year in a row, we saw that women and minorities made up half of the new directors. There's good news and bad news in all of this. 40% of the incoming directors in the S&P 500 this year were women. That seems terrific. But when you look at the amount of turnover in the boardroom, it had a very small impact in the overall percentage of women in the room. Last year it was 22% were women. This year it's 24%. This year, only 3 of the S&P 500 boards had no women. There were 10 that had parity, and 87% had 2 or more. One of the things that we saw was that half of the new directors who were women were added to boards that expanded versus replacing somebody, because there's not a lot of open seats that come up. And if you want to add diversity and you're waiting for retirement, it may be several years before you have that opportunity.